So you can keep going, and you're naturally gonna dig deeper and progress creatively, and and write new stuff that you're excited about. But you got to know when to walk away, because literally it'll never be done. It's just like at
No.
some point, you decide when to call it a day.
Hey, this is Goody Grace, and welcome to Enemies, Friends Like These.
Yo, what's up? This is G-Eazy, and welcome to Enemies, Friends Like These.
I think, well, we got a mutual friend named Jesse Ack who's going to be very pleased that we said his name in an interview.
Oh
Um,
yeah, big time.
uh,
That's up to
I
shouts
think,
up to Jesse.
yeah, shout out Jesse. I think he was showing G my music like a few years ago. And the first real interaction I remember having with G was he DM'd me about this song I had that was just on my SoundCloud called Girls in the Suburbs Singing Smith Songs, which he ended up being on like the official version of. Um, but I think that was probably the first that I can remember. Do you have any other memories of it?
It's crazy because certain people you meet in life, you almost feel like you've known them for much longer than you have. Like
Uh-huh.
like Goody's one of those friends. He's like a brother who it's like it feels like we go back a decade, at least, and it's like, we spent like a ton of time around each other, but in the studio every time we hang out, it's like it's one of those things, there's this chemistry that's just like organic and natural that I mean, we probably have done at least a dozen songs, at least, out of
Yeah,
like
at
unreleased
least.
stuff, and just
Yeah.
creative ideas that we just, bounce around. But I think
Uh-huh.
we're two people that just, have similar views and values and similar creative approaches, even though we make completely different like styles of stuff, for what
Mm-hmm.
we're known for. But, we got a lot in common, man. And that's my brother. And he's one of the most talented people I've ever seen work.
Likewise, man. Hell yeah. Thank you.
The song "Years to Go" is really I mean, anytime we write songs about anything that's a bit more vulnerable and emotional, especially when it comes to love and loss, I try to frame it in a way that is relatable, like telling a story that might sound specific to me, but it could be applied or related to anybody who's been through a breakup. And
Mm-hmm.
the concept of years to go is this idea that it can take so much longer to let go of somebody than it does to get to know them. you know
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made that like at the end of like a really long session in New York, and that was like the final one of like, oh, well, let's try this one last idea out before we head out. And then as soon as I started, we're singing that on the mic, and he started writing, and it was we were all just like, oh my God, we gotta do this right now.
we got
So
something special. Yeah.
yeah, so that happened really quick and organically, and I'm so happy that the world got to finally hear it.
Yeah. Yo, so Goody, so tell me about the inspiration behind your song Winter. Like tell me about the process and what went into that one.
For sure. That's off of a project that I have coming out finally next month on the 26th of February. It's my first like full length. It's not quite the album, but just something to get stuff out. I was just super inspired. I mean, that was really like inspired. The production, at least me and Jay Graham did it. Um, and that was like inspired by like David Lynch. And I was really trying to make like this hybrid of the guitars and kind of creepy, eerie stuff with a real cool beat underneath. So the lyrics were really about just the kind of angsty side of like, I write a lot about nostalgia in my hometown and whatnot, but that was kind of the like, I'm putting myself when I was in like ninth grade, being like, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. So I really
Mm.
tried to embody that and as well write about in with the perspective of being in LA for the past like 6 years as well. And, my friend Burna Boy is a legend, hopped on that and killed it. So that was just a real trying to make something super different. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm excited for people to hear the rest.
I think it's interesting, man, when a lot of us in music or in art kind of have this similar like grew up as outsiders or longing for this this dream of success or this but coming from a place where
Mm-hmm.
we felt like we didn't fully belong here, but where do we belong? And the lore of Hollywood and the lore of of the land of opportunity, and just trying to get somewhere that's
Right.
not here. and just dreaming of a better something.
Yeah, and I think it's important to capture like those raw emotions and tap back into how you felt because
Mhm.
you know we both like people like Bruce Springsteen and stuff, and it's like he wasn't out here like changing lives and making kids run away from home and stuff because he was writing about what he was really doing at like
Mhm.
28 or whatever, now like out in Hollywood and doing it. Like he was still like, no, I'm writing like I'm working construction in New
Yeah.
Jersey, even though he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been trying to tap back in, being like, let's take everything I've learned and how I feel now, but write it as if I'm like my 16-year-old self.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun exercise to again like relate to more people that are really still like that.
Yeah, that's I mean that's just always dope for, perspective and for relatability, I
Hmm.
think, from the listener.
Absolutely. G, I'm a very big fan of this album. Could you tell us about the deluxe version of your album When It's Dark Out, which just came out?
Yeah, at first the idea seemed kind of weird to me, but I'm always down for doing things that, don't seem like you're not, something unusual or something unexpected. As a way to kind of circle back on the anniversary of the release of When It's Dark Out, we decided to add on some extra bonus songs and release a deluxe that, songs that in my opinion, sonically and musically could have fit in the original. And
Hmm.
particularly ours, Years
Yep.
to Go is such a vulnerable and real record. And When It's Dark Out is, the aim lyrically was to kind of try to, to write songs from a perspective of the nighttime. And there's a certain
Right.
loneliness of the nighttime. It's almost like while everybody else is asleep, you have this, you have the world to yourself. You have the keys to the castle, and there's a freedom in that, but there's also a loneliness in that. There's a loneliness in the dark. And, this song just felt perfectly in line with what the original concept of the album was.
I think it's kind of crazy in full circle too that that's where the song found its home when like
Yeah.
most of the songs we made are in a room lit by a sign that literally says when it's dark
When
out.
it's dark out. Yeah.
Now it just says the word dark, but
Yeah.
after looking
Yeah.
at that for after looking at that for so long while we're working, and then as that ends up where it
Yeah.
comes out, I think that's super cool.
So Goody, tell me about what's next, man. What's coming down the pipeline? What projects, what do you have coming out? Or rather tell the people, because I'm on the end and I get to hear the Goody before it's out, just to make y'all jealous.
I got, as I said, this project next month, towards the end of February, which you were on, and we were just talking about a couple weeks ago off camera, but like, I feel like it's just like a rite of passage to always have you on whatever I'm doing now. So
Yeah.
I'm as much as that's coming out, and I'm just getting videos and stuff ready for that. I'm working on what will be the debut album for like summer. So I'm just kind of honing the sound in and really focusing, and it's coming along so great. I feel like I finally like tapped into being like, damn, this is like how the album's supposed to sound. And honestly, in the past like 5 days, like it's a never ending process, and I feel like once you hit that point of creativity and you're like, yeah, this is it, you just got to
Mhm.
run with it. So yeah, we got to
It's a
find
crazy
one
thing,
on
bro,
there.
because I don't think art is ever finished.
No.
And if it's perfect, I heard somebody say this the other day. If it's perfect, then you waited too long and you spent too much time
Well,
on it. It
yeah.
kind of shook me because it's like both Goody and I were workhorses, right? Like we like, you and I will both, just I mean, because it's kind of all we know, right? It's like,
Yeah.
we're blessed and I know that we're both beyond grateful to get to do this for a living. But what that means is, you don't have to do this in the free time that you barely get to find. It's like, especially this year
Right.
with, quarantine, it's like we literally just don't do anything but really work. And
And we
right.
have to. Yeah,
And
it's not even a
and
choice.
so you can keep going, and you're naturally gonna dig deeper and progress creatively, and and write new stuff that you're excited about. But you got to know when to walk away, because literally it'll never be done. It's just like at
No,
some point, you decide when to call it a day.
of course. Do you what do you have coming up as well, and for the rest of the
I'm
year?
yeah, I'm excited. I've been working on this album. These things happen too for for a couple of
As long
years
as I can
now.
remember.
And yeah, I mean, Goody, like you've been there through, to so many of the sessions working on this album,
Yep.
and it's a weird thing, right? Because it's like I naturally place pressure on myself, especially if I'm going to call it the sequel to that album that kind of broke me
Mm-hmm.
and got me into the game. So I want to do it right, with respect for the original, and just, make sure the intent and the execution is there. But it's about so many other things, right? It's like, it's timing, it's landing, with the right momentum and the right pieces in
Mm-hmm.
place, and getting the artwork to look how I want it to, and getting the videos to look how I want them to, and and
Mm-hmm.
then doing all the other little things to get the word out there. So really just excited to get this
Or
album out this year for sure, within the
I'm
next few
excited.
months.
Me too, man. I'm excited to
Hmm.
hear it.
Goody, what's your favorite song of mine?
Um, Man, I got like honestly, just because I could probably rap it all on site, and it actually when I was like I was, not. I mean, I could rap a lot of your shit on site, but I just remember so distinctively when these things happened. I mean, I guess I was at the beginning of high school,
That's
and
so crazy.
yeah, man. And I remember driving to school, and Opportunity Cost was crazy to
Man,
me, and that song
man.
spoke to me so crazy, and I'll like never forget like some of that shit, man. Like only a dream till it happens to you. Like so many of those lines, man, that like I didn't even understand yet. And then a few years later, I was like on a plane or something, and it came on shuffle, and I was like, I still knew the words, so I'm listening, but they had a whole new meaning to me than when I was like 16. So
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. I think that's gotta be my favorite song
yeah.
by you.
That's love, man. That's love. I just like, anytime I hear any story like that, it's just crazy to hear, like, any impact that, especially, an impact on people that I like, care so much about or have so much respect for, to know that it
Yeah,
reaches
man.
them. Um, so Goody
What's
has
your
this
favorite
song, Used
song
to
of
Be.
mine? Yeah.
Goody's got this song called Used to Be that,
You're the
in
first
my
person I
mind,
showed that to.
yeah, and I'll never forget this night for the rest of my life. Goody called me. He was like, "Yo, are you at the crib? Like, I think I just wrote something that's really special, and like, you're the one I need to play it for. Like, whatever. Like, let me know what you think." And I was like, "I'm here. Say less. Like, pull up right now." And he pressed play, and then I probably made him press play like, 86 more times after that. We listened to it on repeat, and I dead ass, like, I shed tears. I was just like, "Bro, this is one of
Yeah,
the most
man.
beautiful things you've ever done." And how real and how powerful it is, and how human. I think like the just the humility and the human factor, because we all have our highs and lows. We all have our, who we want to be, who we aspire to be, but then also who, aspects of us that we miss. I just
Hmm.
think that's something that's universally relatable. And
Thank you, man.
as a big Bob Dylan fan, as a big Johnny Cash fan, as a big, you know what I mean? Like, it just
Uh-huh.
kind of like, it brought to me this feeling of timeless. It's not like something that sounds like dated by like, oh, this sounds like music that was popular in 2016, or,
Hmm.
sounds like today. It was like, no, this could be from the 60s. It could be from the 80s. It could be from today. It could
Thank
be
you,
Bruce
man.
Springsteen. It could be, it could be anything. Like,
That means the world to me, man. Yeah, I was so happy when
yeah.
I came and played it, and it's still that way. I mean, it's crazy now. Like, I feel like you're always the first, and vice versa. Where it's just like we just know that each other will get it if it's something more outside the box, because we like all the same music, and that's why I just think when either of us have a song that really hits with the other person, I think it'll hit with a
Hmm.
lot of people because we are like, I think the perspective that we come from listening to music is very particular, and
Yeah.
that, so that means a lot to me to hear that, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
So G, what motivates you as a musician this far in, like after everything you've done, to still like put those hours in and work as hard as you do? Like what is that motivation that really keeps you going?
The motivation that keeps me going, um, again, I think, it's we're blessed enough to get to do this, professionally at, at this high of a level. But it's like, it's all we do, and it's also all we know. It's
Hmm.
like, when you truly fall in love with something in life, consider yourself lucky, because not everybody finds what they love. But when you get to do it for a living, consider yourself extremely lucky. And what comes
Yeah.
with that is, it's kind of, there's no way out. It's just like, this is who I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
It'd be weird to, you know, to switch career paths and, you know, imagine not, because it's just like music is what we speak and what we know and what we love. It's like, you know, that's the way our brains are are built.
Of course, I agree, man. I know. Yeah, I fully get it. It's like I understand more than no more than anyone. But when somebody says like, I just don't have a choice, I'm like, hell yeah.
Hmm.
I never even thought about it from the other side either. So I agree. I
Yeah.
think I think I think mine's the same. And especially not being nearly as far into it as you are and whatnot, and really kind of being at the beginning. I think what really keeps me going, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, is like the love and respect and like understanding of what I'm trying to do from people like you, and artists that I like grew up listening to and really admire. I think like that's been the best thing for me, is like if I'm a little lost at what I'm doing or a bit confused, but I can text someone that I really, really look up to and kind of get their input. That's really what's been keeping me going. Like, the story you told of used to be like that song, maybe I would have overthought it and got to in my head and been like, if I didn't really leave my place and just come play you it.
Hmm.
So I feel like having really like people that I respect their art really give me input has been a huge motivation, especially the past few months for me.
Hell yeah. I think it's important to have like a, you know, a close knit group and like a small little community of you know, of friends and family that you kind of like, you know, you can lean on, especially in a year like this, you know, where it's like
Yeah,
it's harder to connect with the fans. It's harder to, you know, it's harder to get out there and get feedback from, you know, direct, like to real people. So it's
right.
like you just have your bubble of like your closest friends, you know.
Yeah. Even when we put it out, we don't get to see it being played at
It's
a
so weird,
party
man.
or
It's
at a
crazy.
show or, yeah, in
Yeah.
a room of people. We really just,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, it's very true. Who is your favorite artist of all time if you had to pick one?
Yeah, it depends on the day and it depends on the mood,
Me
you know.
too. Me
But I
too.
mean, right now, like my most go to is always Johnny Cash.
hmm I was gonna say I was gonna say I could probably
Yeah,
guess. He's up there for me too. I mean, you're
hmm,
right. The great thing about Johnny is it's so versatile,
right,
and kind of fits any type of like mood. Um,
yeah. But
I
what
would
about
have to
you?
say,
What's if you have to say right now, you know, because
uh,
again, you might get a different answer different day of the week. But if I ask you right now, Goody, who's your favorite artist of all time?
right. I mean, man, I gotta go big Tom Waits right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
just for
I
the
mean, you
man.
got it tatted. Come on, man. Yeah.
Man, I feel like it's crazy. I was just saying to someone the other day, like Tom Waits for me, especially in the middle of like an album process, it's like when you're at the like cologne store and like you smell those things in between to like to
Hmm.
take it away. Like I guess to
Yeah,
cleanse
yeah,
the
yeah.
palate. I feel
Mm.
like listening to Tom Waits is like, I listen to everything that's coming out and I keep up and I like to, but listening to Tom Waits or Johnny Cash or someone, it
Hmm.
like it cleanses the noise. It
Yeah,
like
for sure.
it really kind of, I don't know, brings you back to like what matters. At least me, like if I get in the
Hmm.
car and I was just listening to like the top 10 songs or whatever, but then I throw on my favorite
Hmm.
Tom Waits record, I'm just like, okay, we're back
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
centered.
There's a timelessness to it, man. There's like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I like to kind of listen to that a lot, especially when I'm in the creative process, because it's really just going to make me approach writing in such a weird, different way. You know. So, if you could remember, I mean, this is a tough one, especially you know years in. But what was your first live show like that you could remember?
My first live show, it's a tough thing to say because like first like I remember being at my best friend Marty in high school. Like his mom had a birthday party and Chewy Gomez, who was the DJ on KMEL, which is our local hip hop station, was
Sick.
DJing her little loft party in Oakland. And you know we were like 13, 14, and he had a mic, you know, and a little PA setup, and he, you know, he played our song and let us jump on and perform it. And I think that was the first time I'd heard my voice back through speakers, you know, over top of a beat. And it was so crazy to me, but I
Whoa.
wouldn't call that a show. Like the first real show, man, maybe like, you know, selling out New Paris for the first time in Oakland and feeling like,
Mm,
damn, there's 500 people here. sold out in advance to see me play like that. That was, like, okay, we're on to something. What about you?
Yeah,
Tell me about your first live show.
it's funny. I was thinking the same because I'm trying to be like, when was the first show? But man, there's a video. Luckily, there's a video of when I was in second grade. I played at like the talent show in my elementary school,
Hmm.
um, and I covered Fallout Boy and Johnny Cash
Yeah.
actually, and I won
Yeah.
like a $30 Walmart gift card, and that shit
That's
was
tight.
lit. So
How would you buy with
I,
it?
bro, I'll never forget. I went and bought the new like Star Wars DVD.
That's tight. That's tight. Back
But
when
then
owning DVDs was like a thing, man. That's
so
crazy.
rare.
The force is strong with this one.
Bro, I was so excited. Yeah, but then
Yeah.
my first ever solo show, me not opening. I opened for people for so long, but yeah, my first show was at the Roxy,
Hmm.
sold out too, and that was incredible. And that was a really big deal for me because at the time I was just like floating and like kind of making a bit of money but just throwing it right back in, and I
Hmm.
was like unsigned and everything, and Rick Rubin came to the show and then
Yeah.
signed me like the next week, so that was a really really big time for me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
the shout out to Roxy.
I would say right now, I mean, this is a bit like selfish to say, but Kosi,
Hell yeah.
who's, not only like, my brother and, a best friend, but like, I just signed him as an artist, and, just because I believe in his music so much, and he's got a song called World of Trouble that's going up right now, and it's gaining legs and traction, and it's really
Hmm.
exciting to watch growth happen, and watch something that you fully believe in and you're a fan of, and watch other people react to it and be like, oh shit, yeah, we're onto something. That's tight.
And yeah, shout out Cozy, man, that sounds so good. I'm so excited
Hmm.
to watch him prosper and kill it.
Yeah.
um Man, I mean, this is really funny. And I was, as soon as she said this, I played it on repeat last night because the, the, the YouTube only John Lennon God that you showed me
Yes. Yes.
3 weeks
Yes.
ago. And we ran it back
Yeah.
a couple times just because the lyrics are so insane. And then last night,
Hmm.
I definitely listened to that on repeat. So I'm the same as
Yeah.
you, man. I can't even, as soon as someone asks me about music, I don't even know what like a
I
song
just jam
is.
up. Yeah, it's
I'm
weird.
like,
Yeah.
what do I even listen
What are you
to?
listening to right now? I don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
But I've definitely been listening to that John Lennon song on repeat that you showed me
Oh
because
yeah.
that's raw.
Yeah.